Pocatello School District 25, first day with students in session, and things are rolling. Buses are rolling. People are out practicing. Good buzz around the schools. I have a student, my own kids. One's in elementary, one's in starting middle school, and both had phenomenal days. And at Century, it was a pretty good day too. So yeah, just excited to get to school. You're rolling. As excited as you can be to have to go back to work.
Right. And like, a lot of us, we go to work 12 months out of the year. You teachers have a great gift to have that break. I know just when I was a teacher for 1 year, it was nice to get those few months, although I found myself preparing and going to conferences. So I don't know how much break those teachers really get, but yeah, back to work, back to school. So getting back to school, it's like this chance, it's like the new year, right? You get your January 1st, you have your New Year's resolutions. School can kind of do that same thing. You got new goals, and you are kind of refocusing on some of those things. And so that can be good for some of these students to get back into the classroom, get back on the field, like you said, and start practicing.
Yeah, I think for 99.9% of the time, a year helps everyone mature and get better, right? I think in East Idaho, as far as coaches go and players, when you get to come back with a new year, you've had a year to improve. And I think that's what we're going to see around all the sports action, is just that improvement and that time to build. And, old dogs can learn new tricks, even me.
Absolutely. Sean, how long have you been teaching at Century now?
Well,
or total, I guess, total.
Great question, because the students brought it up today, and I've been teaching for 21 years, or 20 years. Sorry, teaching 20 years. This will be my 21st year of coaching tennis. I coached before I actually had a teaching job, but yeah, so 21 years teaching. And then I'm like, what year were you guys born? And they're like 2008. And I'm just thinking, what was I doing in 2008? And they're just in high school. But yeah, it's I've been around the block, per se.
Awesome. And that's why you are on this Prepcast. That's why you're the host, Sean, of this Prepcast. You have all this experience, all this knowledge from East Idaho. You've been here a long time. Those of us, transplants, if you will, just trying to learn from all you guys. But hey, let's get into the show, Sean. Speaking of improvements, advancements, as we get another year under our belts, we're a little bit older, stronger, faster. Just a reminder, we're talking about team performances of the week. The best team performance of the week, we're going to talk about best athletic performance from an individual player of the week. And then we'll get into, what's coming up, maybe make some predictions, get the conversation going online. Again, feel free to like and subscribe to the Prepcast, and when the Prepcast can drop and you can join in the conversation live. Send us your comments. We'll answer them. All our terrible takes you can yell at, laugh at, and we'll get the conversation rolling. So let's start, Sean, with our team performance of the week. We're going to get into some golf, Sean. We actually got a picture, Sean, of Thunder Ridge, of their stats. And Sean, they were pretty heavy. Let's talk about those. Thunder Ridge boys varsity golf shot a combined 160 yesterday as playing against Shelley. 5 players, Sean, averaging 32, 4 below par. They are our team performance of the week.
Yeah, just a 9-par duel, or 9-hole duel against Shelley. Kind of a cool format. I kind of like that idea of that, just kind of duel on the little shortened course, and what a great way to get the season started. And shout out to a good friend of our program here, Travis Hobson, the AD at Thunder Ridge, for getting those results, because as before you were here, Joel, getting golf results is very difficult. They post the thing on the window, and if someone doesn't snap that picture, it's hard to get those, because they don't really post them anywhere. But we were able to get those results, and they talked, people talked about it, that Thunder Ridge boys were going to be a very tough golf team this year, and they started off the season proving just that.
Awesome. I love it. And here at East Idaho Prepcast, we talk about all the sports from golf to football. This isn't just a football prepcast. That's for another podcast, right, Sean, on Idaho Sports. Check out IdahoSports.com. You can find all the prepcasts. And then we got a few other things going on, including a football prepcast every Thursday morning. It's a new wrinkle on Idaho Sports that our guys up there are working on really well. But here we talk about all the sports, including golf. Super excited for Thunder Ridge and their awesome performance. Again, that 9-hole duel at Sand Creek. People have been talking about, like Sean said, they've been talking about them, but they proved those speakers correct. Shot a really nice game. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, and we talked about it last year. We just probably didn't hit on golf as much as we could have because it switched, right? It used to always be in the spring, and now we've got some classifications in the fall here, and I think that's, for East Idaho, it's probably much better weather-wise for that golf aspect. I think most are very happy that they get to play right now when it's nice and warm. But yeah, it's good to get some golf results, and we'll have some other results coming in. But just to kind of coattail you there, just remember, hit us up on our Twitters or IdahoSports.com and give us the results, because we'd love to talk about your athlete, your performances, anything just phenomenal happening in East Idaho.
Exactly. Thanks for that plug, Sean. And let's get into the player of the week. Again, Sean, we're going to go right to golf. I believe he's a junior, right? Justin Anderson. Junior shot a 33 in that 9-hole duel. That's 3 below par. Par is generally 36, Sean. And the average golfer, I had to do some research. Average golfer does like 37 to 45. This dude shot a 33.
Yeah, Justin Anderson is just phenomenal. He also finished 8th at the Hogan Cup this summer. That's a pretty big deal for juniors, and he's right up there with some of the kids from the Boise area as far as golf goes, and that's just phenomenal. And what a performance to start the year. He was the 2003 golfer of the year, and now it kind of looks like, when you talked about those scores, looking at the scores, they've kind of you've got that big, number one, and then you've got some players around them that they're going to be able to make some moves in that golfing world.
Absolutely. Really good job there from the junior Justin Anderson and his entire Thunder Ridge boys varsity golf. You guys are our team performance and player of the week. We'll have to tag you in here in case you're not watching. You should be watching, but if you're not, we'll tag you in the video so you can get that love. All right, Sean, let's move on to what's coming up. We got a lot of stuff. Sports have started, Sean. Yesterday we had golf. Today there was volleyball, a couple jamborees going on. This weekend we got cross country, Saturday, August 24th. We got the B Invitational at the Old Butte Fields, where they play soccer, but they also run some cross country. Bonneville, Blackfoot, Madison, Rigby will all be participating in that. And then we got girls volleyball, the famous Peg Peterson Invitational. That's going to be Friday and Saturday, August 23rd to 24th, Sean. And we got some East Idaho schools participating. Of course, it's held at Highland. We got Madison, Rigby, Highland, Century, Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Shelley, Skyline, Snake River, Sugar, North Fremont, and Malad. Sean, with all those schools there, who are you watching?
I mean, I think everyone will be watching Madison. Madison's the team. They're looking for a 3-peat state champions. Everyone, well, I don't know everyone, but most people are pretty big on Madison. Their JV performed very well last year. They're coming in, filling some of those starting roles now on varsity, and that's a team that's going to be really, really hard to beat, and they'll be very, very fun to watch. Now, Peg Peterson's a great tournament because they do like some pod play and then break up into brackets and finish that out. So, I think you got to say Madison's going to be that top dog in the higher, I usually call it like the gold bracket, silver bracket, bronze, something like that. Right. I think Madison's a big team to watch. I think you got, Pocatello. They've come back after their first trip in over 20 years to the state tournament with, basically most of the same girls from last year. So Pocatello will be very strong. And then in kind of those lower divisions, which what I like is sometimes you get the lower divisions playing against the higher divisions, and you kind of get that matchup. And that's always fun. And you got your Snake River, you got your Malad. You've got some good teams. I think Skyline will be a team to watch out for too as well. So, but very good way to get the season started. See where you stand.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, I'm also watching Pocatello Snicker, where they went third at state last year. Like you say, they're returning a lot of their production, so that'll be two teams I'm interested in watching. And then Malad, they got second last year. Great performance from Malad girls volleyball. So I'm also watching them. How these teams start. You talked about Madison. How do these teams start? How do these teams start on the right foot? You may not win every game. You may not win the whole thing. Like you said, they go into that tournament, that pod play. But I want to see them with some positive records as they start this season. So agree. I'm watching Madison, watching Pokey, Snake River, and Malad. Anything else from girls volleyball, Sean?
Just Peg Peterson's a great tournament. She was very influential in just starting sports for females basically across the board at Iowa State University. Has more wins in multiple sports than anyone can even imagine. But yeah, I like the idea of a tournament format because it simulates kind of a state feel right at the start of the season. So you're going to know what your team's made of in a multi-day event, which when it comes down to, you have your dual matches on a Tuesday, but how do you react? How do you come back? What do you do when you have to play multiple matches in one day? And that's extremely important for any team.
Yeah, and that goes into state, right? You have that experience early in the season, but that experience having those multiple matches a day can affect you, in October when you're doing those state tournaments. Guess what else is coming up, Sean? Football. We have football. It is here. We've had fall camp, but football is live this Friday, Sean. We got Butte County Pirates versus the Logos Knights. And then we got Oakley Hornets versus the Grace Grizzlies. Let's do Butte County Pirates versus Logos first. They're going to actually be playing at Homedale, Sean. 3.5 hours for Butte County to drive, 5.5 hours for Logos. Who do you like in that game, Sean?
I don't know how you don't like Butte County for the rest of your life, but they had the storybook season last year, and we've touched upon that a few times. And man, you gotta like Butte County. They matched up in the semis right last year. Butte County wins pretty easily in that matchup, 60-26. But new season, new year. But what a great experience for both teams to kind of travel, play on a gorgeous field at Homedale, and see where they stack up. But it should be a great game. And I kind of like the teams that schedule these tough games to start their season. I think that's a great way just to get a barometer on what your team's made of.
Yeah, 100%. I like when they play these non-conference, although these are the same classification, but non-conference tough games. It's going to be a tough one out for your team, but it's a good barometer. I agree. I'm going with Butte County here, Sean. Look, both teams are retooling at the offensive line. Logos has a new QB. Driscoll's gone. They're all century, all universe quarterback Driscoll. He was amazing, but he's gone. That's big shoes to fill. Butte County, they have a veteran quarterback. He's been there a few times, so they can lean on him when he can be their release valve when things fall apart. First game of the season, things are going to fall apart. They just do. And then Butte County's got some new linebackers. That might be a bit of a weakness, but I think in the end, with that veteran QB coming in for Butte County, I'm liking Butte County.
Yeah, it should be a phenomenal matchup. No matter how you pull at it, I think both teams have big aspirations for the season, and they'll get it started right away.
And just a little plug for Logos. They got some love from the 8-man football guru himself, Will Henneke. He said, watch out for Logos, because guess what, Sean? Polls came out today. We got I believe it was the coaches poll came out, and the IdahoSports.com media poll, and they grabbed media from across Idaho, and Logos only got 3 votes. Butte County was number 2 in this week 1 poll. Logos with 3 votes, but Will Henneke says, watch out for Logos. They may be a sneaky win, maybe a sneaky challenger for that, for not only their conference, but for state. So we'll have to talk about those votes later, probably another show, but I'm very interested to see how Logos does, because you trust Will Henneke, the Mr. 8-man football.
I mean, it'd be a hard bet against, right? media polls preseason. We got to see the teams play, right? I think
Right.
before we're making any big caveats of information, let's see these kids go out and put the pads on, see what happens.
Yeah, totally. And with that, let's go on to Oakley Hornets versus Grace Grizzlies. Sean, you and I will be at that game. East Idaho game night, Friday night, 7 o'clock. Going to be awesome at Grace, Idaho, home of the Grace Grizzlies. Who do you like in that game, Sean?
I'm leaning towards Grace, although Oakley is a very good team. I'm going to go East Idaho homer and go with Grace at this point. But I mean, I'd be willing to eat that later because I don't think Oakley's any slouch, and just have been a real strong program. I mean, both programs doing well, making the state, both kind of looking for that signature over the hump kind of season. I think it is what both teams are kind of gearing at, and they'll face each other off this Friday, and what an incredible matchup at Grace.
Yeah, again, love it when these teams decide we're going to play tough matchups first game, see how we're at, be a litmus test for them. Look, Grace Grizzlies, I've been going back and forth on this all day, but I think that home team atmosphere first game of the season puts them just over Oakley. I'm going to go homer as well, East Idaho Prepcast, and go with Grace. But we may eat our words here, Sean. Oakley could easily come in and win this game by double-digit touchdowns. But again, that Grace has that veteran quarterback he played a lot last year. He's going to be there again. Grace is returning a lot of good talent. Both teams lost targets in their wide receivers, their running backs. But I feel like Grace, well, actually, I know Grace is bringing back a little bit more production that played a lot last year than Oakley did, which is why I give them just a slight nudge. But I wish I were super confident on this pick, Sean, but you never count out Oakley. They retool every year, and their own coaches have said Oakley is a hard game to win, and we hope we can hang with them, was a direct quote from one of Grace's coaches. So even Grace knows the talent and the coaching that Oakley has.
Yeah, it's just one of those games, like, we'd love to just be, I'm for sure this team, but it is one of those games. It's one of those games where you could see it going either way, and I mean, that's the best part about football, where nothing's a foregone conclusion, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, love it. Well, let's go on. Let's move on from our football to our games of the week. We're going to go into boys soccer and girls soccer, Sean. So shout out to Idaho Falls Tigers versus Canyon Ridge at Canyon Ridge. This is our boys soccer game of the week. Sean, it's a rematch from the state consolation last year where Idaho Falls won 2-1. But Canyon Ridge is now 6A. They're in the High Country Conference, even though they're in that Magic Valley area. They're Division 4, but they're playing in 6A High Coast Conference with all those teams previously for a Great Basin Conference. So all that out the window, though. I talked to the coach from IF, and great dude, and he says maybe 20 years ago that 5A, 6A mattered, but now that gap is gone. Any one of us can win on any given day. Should be a great rematch from last year.
Yeah, you had Canyon Ridge, which was high in the polls all year last year, had a great season, looking to do well at state. And you also had an IF team, which comes from a District 6, where just there can be, any team, I don't want to say any team can win, but you just always have a very competitive District 6 in those district tournaments. And you got an IF team that came on strong late. I got word from some coaches last year how, watch out for Idaho Falls, and they did just that by going through and getting that constellation. So it should be a phenomenal matchup. Different classifications now, but like the coach said, it doesn't matter. We want a good match the first game of the year, and that's what we're going to get. So should be really good.
Ryan Cook, the coach of Idaho Falls Tigers, he shared a great story with me saying that Canyon Ridge and Wood River both reached out to IF, their boys soccer team, after their state games last fall, and they just congratulated them on the clean, hard-nosed soccer match between the two teams, which is what you want to see. Good soccer, it's clean, but everyone's playing their hardest. And Coach Cook says he holds both those schools at the highest regards, including Canyon Ridge. year in, year out. He says they're strong, competitive, and they've set the standard for soccer in the area of that state. So huge praise from Coach Cook of Idaho Falls Tigers towards Canyon Ridge. Should be a really good matchup. Again, another good litmus test for both these teams. Where are they at? The soccer season's long, Sean. There are more soccer games, I think. Maybe volleyball might compare, but obviously more games than football. It's a long season. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. But you win this game, or at least you stay competitive in this game. That's a lot of positive momentum for the rest of the season.
Yeah, big time. You're getting, most teams are going to be in action this Saturday for soccer, and you just got to start that season off on the right foot and get it. But it'll be great, great action, right? You got to go out, you got to see what you're made of. You practice, you've had summer camps. It's time to put the pedal to the metal.
So that's going to be this Saturday at Canyon Ridge. I believe it's in the morning, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. So if you're in the area, go see that game. Idaho Falls Tigers versus Canyon Ridge at Canyon Ridge should be a good one. Girls soccer game of the week. We're going Pocatello versus Timberline. Sean, Pokey, 5A powerhouse. They won the third place match at state. They were the number 1 seed, dropped a little bit, but they won that third place match, got that third place versus Timberline. Again, another 5A, 6A. Timberline is a 6A powerhouse, but they lost last year at state 1-0 in their third place match. Who do you like in this game?
Oh, I mean, Timberline's always good. I was just going to say, you look at District 5 girls soccer, you had a long history of Century winning and going to state, winning some state championships. Then a few years later, you had a long stretch of Preston Indians going to state, and they won a state championship. And now a few years later, we've got Pocatello Thunder in kind of the driver's seat right now. Pocatello, they're just like volleyball, they bring back a majority of their key players. And so now it's kind of like, can the Thunder reach that mountaintop like Preston and Century did by a state championship? And this will be kind of a good key test up against, a big bad CSI opponent. And Timberline always strong. Their girls program is very good. One thing, I think Bishop Kelly moved up to 6A in soccer, just that classification. So, Bishop Kelly being gone from 5A soccer really opens the door for someone like a Thunder, or another team lurking out there. But an incredible matchup. I'm just going to lean a little towards that Timberline team and what they've been able to do at this point. But would I be surprised with the Thunder upset? No. Is it an upset? Maybe not. Both programs. You got one program that's more kind of been steady, and you kind of have the up and coming program of the Thunder.
Look, in Timberline, last year they were 14-5 overall. They've only lost a few seniors. So I think this is their chance to make a statement. Hey, we lost in third place match last year. We're going to beat a really good Pokey team who also returns a number of starters, and we're going to take it to them. We're going to show everyone that we are here to play this season. So I think Timberline gets the win, just barely, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pokey comes in and also kind of establishes himself. It's a journey back to state. They want to improve on that 2023 record. Last year, they outscored opponents 96-11. They got that solid backline we talked about last week. They did lose the state's top goalkeeper, but man, with the returning backline that they have, I think that defense turns into offense. Pokey could win that game, but I agree with you, Sean. Timberline gets that win just barely, with only losing a few seniors and wanting to get that really good 6A season going.
And the game is in at Timberline, right? So Pokey's traveling. So it's a good test for Pocatello to travel straight off the season. Timberline at home in that Boise Valley. That home game, I think gives them a little bit of an edge too. I'd imagine that game's going to be played on synthetic turf, where if it was here, it might be not. It might be at Irving Middle School sometimes, where the girls for Pocatello Thunder play on actual grass. So I think that synthetic field, I don't know if the Thunder girls played or practice on that maybe this week to prepare for that, but that I know that plays a huge into the game because it plays so much faster when you're on that turf.
No doubt. And big deal, yeah, that it is in Timberline. They got to travel. Should be a really good game. So if you're in the area, check that one out. Pokey versus Timberline at Timberline in Boise should be a great matchup. So those are our games of the week. For boys soccer, IF versus Canyon Ridge. Girls soccer, Pokey versus Timberline. Next week we'll bring you our other choices for game of the week. Sean, we got some time. We teased this earlier in go ahead.
Well, yeah, there's one other game that really stuck out to me that we didn't cover in football, and that's Friday night's Rigby versus Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, absolutely.
6A football. And I know Joel didn't pass it up. He just was waiting for me to bring it up in a very
100%.
Like boom. And I was looking at that today, and I'm thinking this is a huge game. You got Rigby who's won, but state and didn't win last year, and they've kind of been up and down. Well, not up and down, but as far as for them, they either win a state championship or they're down, right? That's kind of where they're at. You've got Coeur d'Alene team that's got a very lethal offense. Their defense should be tough. They're missing Shea Robinson, obviously. Coeur d'Alene, great, absolute stud, but should be a really, really good game where you've got a kind of a newer Rigby team, but a Rigby team that doesn't, they just reload, right? And with Amani Morel also coming in as a running back, I think that will be a fantastic game in that is it the Rocky Mountain Rumble? If I'm not mistaken, it should be really good. North versus East in that aspect, as Coeur d'Alene was the state runner up to Highland last year. So really, really kind of big game to start the season off for both those Idaho squads.
And I really like the Coeur d'Alene Vikings. I was on the field for that state championship game against Highland, and all that. The entire Coeur d'Alene Vikings coaching staff, just a great crew. Love their players, and they coach right. They do it right. Interestingly enough, Coeur d'Alene was chosen one by, again, this is a preseason poll. They haven't played a single snap, but the preseason football media poll, Coeur d'Alene is number one, and Rigby is tied for third with Eagles. So the media is respecting Coeur d'Alene, respecting Rigby. This should be a great matchup. And you also have on the coaches side, coaches that are choosing, their coaches preseason coaches poll, Coeur d'Alene number one, and Rigby in their division. They also, I believe, yes, Rigby is also number one. So yeah, awesome matchup against top teams chosen by the media and by the coaches.
Yeah, and let me correct that. That game will actually be played in Coeur d'Alene. The Rocky Mountain Rumble is the following week. So This is like a week, a week zero really kind of game to get your taste buds going. And as you remember, Joel, last year we were doing Thunder Ridge, Minico, right? And everyone had their cell phones out watching Idaho sports coverage of Rigby Coeur d'Alene game. That was an actual just showstopper to start the season. So what a tantalizing matchup for the start of the football season.
Yeah, cannot wait for that week zero, week one. Some folks have called it week one. Some folks have called it week zero. I'm not sure what week it is, but I know it's the first week of football, and Rigby Coeur d'Alene should be an excellent matchup along with those others that we've already discussed. Sean, those really fast before we get out of here, those media polls, that coaches polls have come out. What struck you as surprising for any of those East Idaho teams? I kind of caught you off guard here.
No, I was looking at them, and I'll be honest with you. The media poll is the media poll. I like it when the coaches polls out there. The coaches poll we have is just for how they're going to end up in their division, right? We don't have the overall coaches poll. Like I 100% respect the media and love them, but I love it when the coaches vote and we kind of get that. But I think it all looks pretty good. You've got in 6A, Coeur d'Alene 1, Rocky Mountain 2, Eagle, Rigby, Highland, right? These are all teams that are always at state, always going to be good. I think Rocky Mountain is definitely a team that I don't think people are sleeping on, but I think watch out. They're going to be very tough. You've got a Highland team that had to replace 22 players, but I think they're just going to be just as good. And if we know anything, Highland just knows how to win. 5A, no surprises, Bishop Kelly at the top of that. And then you've got Skyline, which is kind of saying it's a redemption year for them. I think it'll be very tough. Sandpoint, very highly ranked at 3. You've got Hillcrest. I think Hillcrest loses a lot of people. Being at 4, I don't know. Maybe that's just a gut check reaction from how they did last year, but they'll be very good. And then you got Skyview, and then no surprises in 4A, Sugar Salem, Homedale at the top of that. Until Sugar Salem isn't Sugar Salem, I don't know how you say anything different. And then at 3A, the forever dynasty of the West Side Pirates, Declo, you got North Fremont at 3. And what I see kind of surprisingly there is Aberdeen coming at 4. And mark my words, we'll be talking about Aberdeen as the weeks come. They're going to, I think, have a really good year. And of course, in their, they have to play West Side in their conference, but I think Aberdeen will be very strong. 2A, you've got Kendrick, and then Butte County, right? And Butte County at 2, Grace at 5, good. And then 1A, we have Rockland. I think Rockland will be a team, Joel, me and you will be talking about quite a bit this year too. I think they're on kind of that road to get over the hump too, to maybe get in the title talk. But yeah, it should be good. I think the media poll is giving you a lot of teams to really sink your teeth into and think about. But we'll see what happens after these first couple weeks.
Yeah, no doubt. At beginning of at the last podcast, I mentioned 3A was going to be a mess. Well, at the top, you have Westside Declo, like you said. On the coaches poll, it's flipped, Sean. You got Declo Westside. So Declo 1, Westside 2. And the media poll, Westside 1, Declo 2. And then North Fremont, Aberdeen, and Nampa Christian, with Firth getting some votes. You go to the coaches poll, Sean, Firth is number 1 in the Newt conference. Now, of course, coaches only did by conference, like you said.
Yeah.
It's not combined, but still, I'm very interested that Firth is number 1, Ryrie number 2, and North Fremont 3 in that Newt conference, with Declo, Westside, and like you said, Aberdeen in the Southeast Idaho conference. I think there's going to be a lot of wet noodle between each other, beating up on one another, and I think that 3A is a fantastic. Or the 3A districts 5 and 6 with that 4 Declo Wendell participating. It's going to be a blast to follow week in and week out.
Yeah, I did the playoff game last year between Firth and Aberdeen, and both teams very strong. Aberdeen just a little better defensively when it kind of came down to it, but the Firth team was young, and they're going to have some players back, and they'll be tough. But yeah, you've got a very heavy East Idaho 3A conference, we'll put it that way.
No doubt.
You're not going to be surprised to see those teams at the top. You're not going to be surprised to see an East Idaho team come away with some big wins as that season goes on. But yeah, North Fremont too. North Fremont was very good last year. Watch them. They have they're big. They're a big team for that 3A conference. Big line, big guys. So they're going to be good as well. And it should be a lot of fun.
And remember, Kendrick went from 1A D2 to 2A, and Kendrick wins a lot, and they score a ton of points every game. So Butte County, Oakley, Grace, Valley's in that media poll top 5. That watch out, because Kendrick now is in your division, I guess, in your classification, and that's going to be a hard game every time when Kendrick comes to play. So can't wait to see if we get a little bit of Kendrick, Butte County, Kendrick, Grace. We'd love to see those matchups as well. Anything else from those from the media or coaches poll, Sean, that sticks out to you?
No, we just got to get some games played and see what pans out.
Love it. Well, let's get out of here, Sean. So for those who are looking for football this week, you got Lakeside Court of Christ, Skyview Minico, Oakley Grace, where Sean and I will be at, and then Kimberly Fruitland. Those are going to be on IdahoSports.com. You got your video, you'll have audio, the whole enchilada, Sean, if you're looking for some football. And then, of course, you got soccer games, volleyball games this weekend, all kinds of stuff to sink your teeth into. But if you're looking to watch something online, go to IdahoSports.com. You'll catch those games again. Lakeside playing Court of Christ, Skyview playing Minico, Oakley playing Grace, and Kimberly playing Fruitland. And that's going to do it for this podcast, Sean. Thanks for being with us, everyone. For Joel Richardson, For Sean Kane, I'm Joel Richardson saying be excellent to each other, and we'll see you next week on the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.